Today I'm subbing for Professor Petunia. I said Professor Petunia's class. I think let's take a look here at our binder. While I'm looking, why don't you turn your pages to, I think yesterday we were on page 52 of your Botany book. Today we are in Botany 305. The basics of botany, the evolution of botanic anatomy in a modern revolution, part 5. This is an advanced botany class. Let's see what your professor wrote here. As a reminder, the prerequisites for this class was Botany 201. Botany 201. We study in plant personalities under the guise of floral arrangements in a modern architectural design. If you didn't take Botany 201, make sure you see the office administrator immediately, because Botany 305, the basics of botany, the evolution of basic anatomy in a modern revolution, part 5, that is a prerequisite for this class. Unfortunately, if you didn't take Botany 201, go see the office administrator. If you have any questions on that, I can't help you with that. That is the note your professor left me for today. Today's class, 305, the basics of botany. Now everyone just settle down, get out your pencils. Get out your pencils and pens. If you're using a laptop, I don't want to hear any of the clickety-clackety. Make sure you stay very quiet. If you're using a laptop, you should have read for today's class, you should have fully read the field guide to mushrooms. The field guide to mushrooms. This will be on your final exam. The final exam. I hope you didn't just read the picture pages. The assigned reading was also to flip through the entire contents of 450 pages of all of the mushroom definitions. That's why this is an advanced class, Botany 305. I will not be further explaining any of the content in your mushroom field guide quiz. You needed to study this for the quiz and for the field trip. Now your professor also left me a note on the field trip. I'm not sure if I'm taking you on the field trip or if your professor's taking you on the field trip. Does anybody know if that was today? If that was today, raise your hand. We'll take a look and see if your professor left us any notes. What did you tell me about? It was on the first page, the notes. So here it is in the big botany binder. The note for the field trip is: make sure you handed your admission slip into the administration's admissions office. Make sure you handed your admission slip into the administration's admission office. Now, I don't know where that is. I don't know where that is, but I do believe it's down the hall. Down the hall. To give them a call. To give them a call. I'm not sure what that means. If anybody knows the professor's phone number, just put it in the chat on the grading portal. And into the chat on the grading portal. But we do need to go over the slides from last class in case anybody missed these on the chapter quiz. Okay, it looks like we're going to go over botany terms, plant parts and plant structure, and key terms in growth and function related to photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Again, I'm very surprised we're doing that in an advanced botany class. Open up your Botany for Botanist anthology book. If anybody doesn't have this book, it was available for rent through the school library. Or you can buy it online through the portal, through the university's portal on the third page of Appendix A.5151. And I do believe back when I bought this book, I think it was in 1979, I paid about, I think I paid about $40 for this book, for the Botany anthology book. Now today, if you bought it through the portal, through the school's portal, in the appendix, that was likely over $500, but unfortunately it is required material for the advanced botany class, okay? If you don't have this book, for today's purposes, because I'm your sub, I will allow you to look over at your partner's book. But please refrain from not purchasing the books in the future. Now, we're going to start on page... let's see what note your professor left me from yesterday. You all were on page 102. Turn to page 102. Ask your professor. Some of this might be on the final exam, but I'm not responsible for relaying all of that information to you. A copy for us to use today. These are all in your book, starting on page 102. Page 102. I do know one of these pages will be on the final exam. On the final exam of your Advanced Botany 305 final. You might even want to sketch them in your little notebook. But again, I don't want to hear any clickety-clacking. I don't want to hear any clickety-clacking on your laptops. page 103 of your book. You better watch out. You better watch out. Do you know what these are? You're my Botany 305 class. You should know what these are. Take a closer look. That's right. That's right. These are all poisonous plants. Poisonous plants. So even those students that don't care, and they think that they take allergy medicine, we still don't want you touching any of these plants, okay? For example, this one, you should have memorized this from last time. This is a sublivorous stinging side dinking sedated subspecies of nettle. That's right, that's probably going to be on your final. So make sure you study that. Make sure you study that plant right there. And this one might be on there too. This one might be on there too. That looks like a little sunflower, doesn't it? That looks like an innocent little sunflower. Well, this is really how to adjust my glasses. This one is the Persimmons, and I don't remember the name of this one. I just got done teaching Botany 4000. But you're all very lucky. I've been teaching since, let's see, I don't remember, probably back when it was back in the 80s. In the 80s, one of my college professors in my master's degree in advanced sublivorous microbiology of botany actually touched one of these plants because they thought it was a sunflower. They thought it was a sunflower, and they picked one of the seeds. They picked one of the seeds and ate it. And they were in the hospital for, I think that was probably, that was after, I think that was after the other professor, Bob, got married. Bob and Linda got married. And they went to their honeymoon in Jamaica, and they brought all of us students back specialized keychains with all of our names on them. And then, the professor was in the hospital after eating this seed from this plant. And that's why I remember the name of it is the hydroponic sadiated flower. Yes, I know to spell that for you. The hydroponic singing sadiated flower. Now, all the rest of the page, these are also very poisonous plants. Some of these you'll find in South America. I found this one on my Botany 305 field trip to Canada. This was actually a sponsored trip by the National Student Federation Foundation for finding flowers out in the native wilderness. That's right, out in the native wilderness. This is one of the most rare poisonous species. So if you walk past this and brush up against it with your leg, that's right, all of these seeds will get all over the ground, and you would never know until you washed your clothes, and they would get all over all of your clothes, and your full body would break out in hives. Your entire body would break out in hives that are the size of a quarter, the size of an American quarter. All of you should know how big that is. Make sure this was page 102. Study your poisonous plants of North and South America. And this last page should all be very common knowledge to my Botany 305 class. Botany 305 in modern nature, modern design technology. Now, why do you think this page is important to our Botany 305 class? It's because all of these plants are used in modern architectural construction. Did you know that the Willis Tower in Chicago was actually designed after this plant? Because the cellular structure of this plant is intertwined, much like the root of a bamboo plant. Did you know that bamboo has a very strong cellular structure? I studied that back in the 90s after Bob and Linda, our professors, after Bob and Linda got back from vacation. They actually brought one of these with them. Do you remember what the name of this is? Do you remember the name of this? This is the bamboo CD baby leaves you good flower. And you write that down in your notebook. It's the bamboo CDs you did the flower. And you should know on the bottom of page 105, this bug and this plant. This is called a kappa bug, a kappa bug. C-U-P-bug, it's a kappa bug. Why is this called a kappa bug? Because this bug only will live inside of this plant. Do you see how it's shaped like a cup? And this little fly lives its entire life cycle inside of that cup. It only leaves one time in its life. You know why? Do you know why? You need to write this down for your final exam. The Amazon. Yes, it needs to go all the way to the Amazon to create food for the kappa. Write this down for your final exam. We need to go over some terms and definitions that your professor left for us. Write down keys and growth function. Keys and growth function of the plant. Muscular tissues for sugar and water transport. Xylem, X-Y-L-E-M. Vascular tissues for sugar and water transport. Can lab it on your own. You should have done your own labs on the photosynthesis cellular structure of the plant. And then we have the node and the internode, the stem points where the leaf attach versus the space between them, Guarded by the guard cells. And now for your last page. Let's see what page that is on all these papers. We're in the Woodland chapter, part 5. I know a couple of these animals from the woodland might be covered on your final exam. I'm not sure which ones. All of these animals have symbiotic relationships with all of the plants that we just went over. This is a symbiotic snail. That's right, the symbiotic snail. You remember what that snail does to the interior structure of the xylem cell that guards the guard cells, and this snail the specific snail, or the bird, this bird has a relationship with this frog, a symbiotic relationship, because the bird catches all of the seeds from the pine trees that are in the boreal forest, and drops them super sled. The super sled. This is the fire to get it on. That's right. That's right. And this creature is a solitary creature. Unlike Bob and Linda, this creature did not go to Jamaica. That's right, this creature is a solitary creature. I think this one would like to live deep down in the sand. You want to write this down for your final exam. This snail lives 5 feet under the sand, but only on beaches that have sand pebbles that are 0.0001 of a micron big. That's very important. And now this little guy on the left, they actually discovered this after I was done with school. Can you believe that? After I was done with my master's, I thought I had learned everything there is to know. I thought I learned everything there is to know about biology and the botany world on a cellular atomic level. That's right, almost on a quantum level. That's right. This little salamander was discovered. Does anybody know what year this salamander was discovered? Yes, it was in 2005. This salamander was actually discovered in Bob and Linda's backyard. They are very modest people. They live on like 105 acres of land in a small 5,000 square foot house behind the university in the swamp. In the swamp, you think the salamander lives. And deep down in the swampland, wouldn't you? That's not right. The salamander actually was living in the chimney of their garage in the second attic on the 4th floor. And they found it inside of a cereal box. And it turns out that this salamander, the salamander that you'll find on page 406 of your botany book, only eats cereal that's fruit flavored. It's quite shocking. It's quite a shock to the botany world that Bob and Linda found this in their second attic on the 3rd floor of the 4th floor. That's right, it was a wild discovery. They found this salamander when it was about, I don't know, let's think. I was getting my nails done that day. Linda texted me that she found the salamander, and it was, I think, about 3 inches long. Yeah, 3 inches long at the time. Can you believe that? Can you believe that inside of a cereal box, 3 inches long? And they named it Blinda after Bob and Linda, Blinda. And now remember, if you ever find one of these inside of your cereal box, immediately report this. Define that. You should be able to report that. Anybody has the phone number of your professor, make sure to drop it in the team chat on the greeting board. And their permission slip signed. Make sure you turn it into the administrator at the administration before 3